Zesting is when you take and just get the outer pretty color of the fruit to add some zing to your dishes. A little bit of texture, a little bit of flavor in there. First thing you want to do is cut the ends off. Gives you an idea of seeing how thick your rind is on this, because you don't want to get down into the white. You want to stay up away from the white. Easiest way to do it is a zester. And I'm not a gadget person, but this is a good thing to have in your kitchen supply. Then you just draw it toward you. Pulling down, pushing a little bit of pressure on it, draw it toward you. Now, if you're not lucky enough to have these little zesters, then you can also just take and do the same thing with a paring knife, where you just gently cut in to the rind. Make sure you're not getting too much of the pulp in there, because you don't want that. See, I got a little bit too much in this one. So we'll try to cut it a little bit shallower next time. And this is what you don't want. So if you end up with a lot of that in there, you can scrape it off. It's easy to get out because it's kind of a thick texture. Pull all that excess pulp out of there, because that's bitter. And in fact, if you're working with lemon, you're doing the whole lemon slice into a dish. Make sure that you take it out when you go to store it or to cool it for the night, because that bitter taste gets up into the rind. Then you can just take and you slice as thin as you can through the wonderful skin. And you see you get some really nice thin zesting slices. Obvious, a lot more work. Depends on how thick or how big you want your zest to be. If you can look in the pot, you can see the difference between the two. And again, just pulling across gives you that really nice texture, and it's really much easier to get without getting the pulp in there. So it's a little bit easier to work with. Let me show you on an orange, because the orange is basically the same thing. It's a larger piece of fruit, so it's got a brighter color. So again, cut that end piece off. You can see how thick it is. But the same principle works here. And much, much easier than trying to cut with a paring knife. Again, take and just slide your paring knife down the side. Try to cut that off without getting too much of the, I guess it's called the pith, is inside of it. I'm not sure if that's the correct name or not. So I got a little bit too much, so here we go through the process of getting rid of it. Be careful cutting towards you like that. Very dangerous, be very, very aware. If it slips, you're in trouble. So cut away. Make sure your knives are pretty sharp. But get all that pulpy rind part off, sorry, pith off, I guess it is. It's not the pulp, the pulp's inside. And then again, you just go to, I switched to a bigger knife here now, and then you just go to a very easy, you can use your knuckles there for guidance. And you get a nice zest to go down into orange. What am I thinking of? We do this in our fresh fruit crepes. Gives a nice little texture to it. If you're going to do an icing, you want a lemon icing, an orange icing, there's a little texture in there. You can chop this a little bit finer. If you're going to do it inside of something like that that's too big to eat, you just come back and chop it up a little bit finer. And since you're going to be throwing most of the rind away from an orange or a lemon that you're working with, and you don't have to go out and buy the zest that's dried in the grocery stores. Good?
That was good.